Hello, good evening and welcome, good afternoon and welcome to Gender Agenda. And it is great to have you today on the show. You know, it's quite interesting, like backstage, when you hear that sick tune, all you want to do is just start, dancing to it. There's just this jive, to it. Anyway, just to tell you that Gender Agenda is an interactive magazine program that delves deep, looks in between the lines on issues as it concerns women and those who care about them from across Africa and most importantly, here in Nigeria. Policy literacy for women is a very important tool. It not only arms them with the understanding of their rights, but also their role in national development. So, for us here on the show, we will try to cut across various sectors, as its main aim is to mainstream women across all sectors, finding ways to mitigate the gap and the lack of inclusion of women in the area of politics, be it governance, leadership, human rights, social development, advocacy, education, health, business, and of course, financial inclusion and other issues. Well, the program also brings to you the four of the emergency Africa faces, especially Nigeria, when it comes to women's rights. I'm sure you will agree with me on that. So we will have a moment for you, our viewers, via our interactive segment where you can tell us what you think, what you feel, and your live feedback on the show through phone-ins, emails, WhatsApp messages, Skype, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, the feedback handles will be on the screen as you are looking at it shortly as you see it. Do take notes, save it, and save them on your favorite. But in the meantime, stay tuned, and we will be right back. I can hear Maka Okoro and Wale Peters behind my producer and the director saying, say your name already. I'm just about serving it hot, and I'm yours truly to obey others. Adora Onyechere. So it's good to join you here today. So today we should also be looking at what we started with last week. We'll kick off from where we stopped last week, and that's on the additional special seats for Women's Bill, sponsored by the Deputy Chief Whip of the House of Representative Honorable Nkiruka Onyajoche, PhD. We told you that the additional special seat for women seeks to review the Constitution Alteration Bill to create 111 special seats for women in the National Assembly and 108 similar seats for women in the state houses of assembly. Now, it also, among other provisions, explores the use of temporary special measures such as reserved seat arrangements to perhaps boost the numbers of women in the legislature and its potential implications on the political space and the national budget. Now, Honorable Nkiruka has given us some reasons behind the bill and the drive to ensure it becomes a reality. We stopped at where we asked her where the National Assembly is on the legislation. So we would serve that to you after we have taken you through some of our lined-up segments and, of course, highlights on the preparation for the FCT Area Council polls. Are you ready for that? And is, of course, scheduled some days before Valentine. You know what I mean? On the 12th of February. So we have one of the female contestants who will be joining us via Zoom on this platform. She is Abiodun Esiet, contesting the vice chairmanship position for AMAC under the All Progressive Congress, APC. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has cleared 478 candidates to contest in the election in the 68 constituencies of the Federal Capital Territory. Now, it's interesting that the candidates nominated by 14 political parties will fight for the control of the 6 area councils and the FCT. Maybe 110 of the 478 candidates will contest the chairmanship and vice chairmanship seats in Buhari, Abaji, Gwagwalada, Kuje, Kwali, and Abuja Municipal Council. And AMAC, while 363 candidates will also jostle for 62 councillorship positions. So on the show today, we will bring you some more details of this after some of our interesting, fantastic segments. But in the meantime, fasten your seatbelts, take you for a ride. We'll be right back after this short break. Well, thank you so much for staying with us. And that, of course, is our Hall of Shame. And so if you see your face and your name and your state on the Hall of Shame, that means that you have not passed the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. So please skedaddle and do what's important. But in the meantime, let's go and hear what's happening across the world. Women in the News is up next. To stay with us.
Ethiopia has carried out a human papillomavirus vaccination campaign that aims to immunize over 1.8 million 14-year-old girls in 9 regions against HPV. More than 866,000 14-year-old girls took the first dose of vaccines, while 970,000 took the second dose, having received the first in January 2021. 2 doses of HPV are required for full protection against human papillomavirus, which causes cervical cancer. HPV vaccines, vaccination cards, and tally sheets were distributed to the implementing regions by the Ethiopian Pharmaceutical Supply Agency. The Ministry of Health and Regional Health Bureau have been leading sensitization, social mobilization, and communication efforts for the campaign in collaboration with immunization partners. Prior to the campaigns, sensitization workshops were conducted for media professionals, representatives from the education sector, teachers association, immunization partners, and public relation officers of health bureaus. The HPV vaccine was introduced in Ethiopia in December 2018, targeting 14-year-old girls. The Ethiopian Ministry of Health has been leading the vaccine rollout and conduct of vaccination in collaboration with regional health bureaus and the education sector. Key stakeholders and immunization partners such as the World Health Organization and UNICEF. World Health Organization Ethiopia has deployed its central and field staff to support the implementation of the vaccination through direct technical support, supervision and monitoring. Vaccines for the campaign were acquired and rolled out with support from Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. The president of the South African Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, Highness Mawe, says findings into the disruption of menstrual cycle experienced by some women have shown that menstruation is not significantly affected by vaccines. Highness responded to a statement issued by the Commission for Gender Equality using the study into the disruption of menstrual cycle experienced by a few women after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine as an argument for why businesses should not be implementing mandatory vaccines in workplaces. The study in question showed that women experienced a 0.7-day increase in cycle length following vaccination. There was no increase in the number of bleeding days, but a slightly longer time between bleeding. This was temporary and not clinically relevant. The group said the study therefore reassures and shows that menstruation is not affected by the COVID vaccination. South Africa Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists emphasized that the benefit of vaccination outweighs the risk. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, says the situation for women human rights defenders and the prospects for women's full participation in building peace has become vastly worse owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. Bachelet was participating in a Security Council debate dedicated to the theme Protecting Participation, Addressing Violence, Targeting Women in Peace and Security Processes. The human rights chief says that between 1992 and 2019, only 13% of negotiators, 6% of mediators, and 6% of signatories in major peace processes worldwide were women. In terms of support, barely 1% of funding in fragile or conflict-affected countries goes to women's rights organizations. In 2020, the High Commissioner's Office verified 35 killings of women's human rights defenders, journalists, and trade unionists in 7 conflict-affected countries. The number, which is certainly an undercount, surpassed the confirmed numbers of killings in 2018 and 2019. The High Commissioner's Office have also documented patterns of attacks against women, working on gender equality, sexual and reproductive health and rights issues, corruption, labor rights, and environmental and land disputes. According to Bachelet, in every region, women have been subjected to arrest and detention, intimidation, sexual violence and harassment via smear campaigns, intimidation and reprisals by state and non-state actors against people who cooperate with the UN also remain high, she said, including in countries which are on the Council's peacekeeping agenda. The High Commissioner then highlighted the situation in Afghanistan, Africa's Sahel region, Myanmar and elsewhere, saying violations of women's rights significantly undermine global efforts to prevent conflict and sustain peace. In Afghanistan, she pointed to a humanitarian disaster of unprecedented proportions, arguing that the denial of the fundamental rights of women and girls is massively damaging the economy and the country as a whole. In recent months, many Afghan women human rights defenders, journalists, lawyers, and judges have been forced to flee or go into hiding, often after repeated threats. Many have lost all sources of income. They have also been excluded from decision-making that affects their lives and prevented from fully exercising their rights. Bachelet urged the Security Council to ensure that the perpetrators of these violations are held accountable. She also asked the council members to use their influence with the Taliban to encourage respect for fundamental human rights.
As Nigeria believe to give woman Minister of Finance, and the thing is good. Women can keep money. So if they give us president, that is how we keep Nigeria clean and fine. Our fellow woman should not allow another fellow woman to suffer. So by the time we woman, maybe just even at 1 month, may them give woman, they will see change.
Women go do better because you know the pain where everybody they pass through, where women they pass through. What did they promise? We will not see anything now. They know they do anything because if you say they do something, things like Bryce and Gary, everything is supposed to come down. Red oil, everything is supposed to come down. There's no anyone will go down. Every day they increase. So you know come down. So they don't do anything for us.
Interesting, very, very interesting. Una know they do anything. All the things Una promise us, we know see. Gary, rice, everything. Bafka. Give it to a woman if you can give it to her to run the finance, and that's what's coming from the streets. Thank you, Voices from the Streets, and welcome back. You've heard it from the streets. Well, the FCT area council election is days away. What is the package for women? Not forgetting persons living with disability and also the internally displaced persons, the IDPs. In what has become a recurring, well, they say decimal action, INEC list also projects low participation of women in the country's electoral process of the candidates approved to contest the elective offices in the FCT area council polls. Now, only 3 females, number 3, will slug it out with 52 males for the chairmanship seats. Now, this is barely 5% of the chairmanship candidates. Now, while 8 female candidates, male, made the list of the vice chairmanships, only 31 female contestants were sponsored by 14 political parties for the councillorship seats. Now, let's see if we can get to find out really why this makes sense to some people, but certainly doesn't make sense to the female folks in Nigeria, especially those who are going out to vote here in the FCT by one of the contestants as she joins us. Yes, indeed, it's a very interesting conversation, and we bring you live on Zoom. Abiodun Esiet. Abiodun, good afternoon, and how are you?
Good afternoon, Hajora. I'm fine.
How do you feel? I mean, campaign train back to back. How do you feel? Let's start from there.
Really, I'm really stressed out, but you're not backing out. We're still continuing because of the percentage of women that you have said are on the ballot. We can't let the women down. So we have to give our best. Although it's not easy, you have to campaign back to back before the INEC stop the campaign. And we are putting our best out there to get women to support women's agenda, to support the government that brings about development and empowerment for her in an inclusive government.
All right, Abiodun Esiet, you are running as the candidate for the APC in the FCT, council elections. Why are you running?
Yeah, I'm running to bring about gender inclusion in government. I'm running to address issues that women face. I'm running to bring about, development for women, and also to show people that women also have the capacity to lead. I came into this game as I contested for the position of councillor 2019. I couldn't get the ticket that I needed, but I continued my struggle for political inclusion because I felt women are not in that position within the internal party democracy of major political parties. So we needed more women to get into the party structure. And one easy way for women to get into the party structure is by contesting for different position or being appointed to the different position. That was the reason for me aspiring and wanting to get to the structure of the party to increase women's percentage politically, to bring about issues, to address issues that women face. That's the reason why we're running.
All right, Abiodun, now let's get personal. I know there are issues within the political party. I mean, your case is in court. What is the role of the political parties in pushing women forward? Because we know that that's where it starts. What do you think the political parties can do, and how are they working for the benefit of women?
Yeah. Political parties, they have any, to get women into elected position and appointed position. That's where you need gender sensitive leadership within the party structure. People who are he for she champions. We know the party structure is patriarchal in nature, in the sense that the major people that controls the party's dynamics, the party internal democracy, are majorly men. So we need men who are he for she champions, who think about women's inclusion, and who are ready to empower women politically in party structure. So that's why we need party to really make that influence, and also address some of the constitutional provisions that they have. A lot of parties, the major two political parties, have 35% inclusion quota in their constitution. But how many of those political parties are, making sure that what they said in the constitution is what they're feeling in? Taking FCT area council election, for instance, in both APC and PDP, I'm the only female candidate. The only female candidate in the 6th area council, and also in the 6 councillors. The only female that was able to scale through. So that shows how patriarchy the system has been.
Absolutely.
So that shows the reason for reforms that we need. We need women to feel in position, because there's no nation that can develop leaving half of this population behind politically. You can't. So we need to enforce some of this law, and for us to see how we can back some of this law up constitutionally in our constitution, in other gender policies that Nigeria has signed into. Nigeria is very nice in signing into so many decrees and declarations, treaties that address women. But how are we doing in monitoring those treaties, making sure that we are fulfilling according to what we have?
Sorry, I had to cut you there, Abiodun, because we're running out of time and I can faintly hear you from here. But thank you so much. Abiodun Essett is running for the, AMAC elections, and she's running under the APC as a vice chairman candidate, for the area council elections. And please, if you have not gotten your voter's card, please try and make sure you get your voter's card. But anyway, like we said, we will continue with our last week's interview on the additional special seat for women bill by the Deputy Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Honorable Nkiru Konyi-Ajocha. Let's take a look at that and then get to the final conversation.
Thank God today, the number 2, he for she, Right Honorable Idris Wase, the Deputy Speaker of House of Representatives, did the needful, and the bill passed at the committee stage. So we are using this opportunity to thank the Speaker for walking the talk, because once a presiding officer signed to a bill, everybody wants to sign to it. That was why the first day, 100 and something people signed to this particular bill, and since then it has been all good in House of Representatives. So I don't know what's going on in the Senate, but I also appeal to the Senate that this is one piece of legislation that will make them write their names in gold. Because you can't say you're doing anything without empowering your women. You cannot say you can prosper without empowering your women. You cannot say you're doing good without allowing your women to express themselves. You can't say that you're talking about the economy without including people who have more than 40-something% of citizenship of that country. So you can't say you are filling the gap when the women cannot contribute to what benefits them. And when you talk about benefiting them, it's also benefiting you, because all the senators have wives, all of them have children, all of them have girl children, not just children, but they have girls. And all of them, I do not see anybody who will come down and sit down any day without having one helping hand from a woman. It's not possible. Passing this bill is one thing, and then getting people to contest is another thing. And people shouldn't think that when you pass extra seat bill, it's like somebody calling out names, say come and take. Nobody's going to give you. So no, it's not a bill that is enshrined in the Constitution to say take. It's a bill that will be keenly contested by qualified women, qualified girls from the age of 30. See, for you to qualify to come to vie for this additional seat, you must be a registered voter. You must present yourself. You must become a politician. You must get your PVC. You must sell yourself to the people. You must canvass to introduce yourself to the people. It's like marketing. You must market yourself. You must tell the people what you want to do differently by adding one more seat or two more seats or three XYZ seat to the parliament. You must tell them what you do differently as a woman. You must tell them where you're coming from. And so this seat is not all commercial. It's for people who will qualify, people who are interested in politics, people who are interested in representing their people, people who are interested in making their country proud. We must find a reason, we must find a way to make sure that there's deliberate effort to fill the gap. And that's the gap we are filling. Because we can't be talking about progress, we can't be talking about development, we can't be talking about SDGs, MDGs without inclusion of women. It's not possible. That's lip service. Gender agenda, women agenda, the time is now. Women should arise like yesterday. We have waited for too long. Take up your shoes, take up your PVC, take up your responsibility to do that which God has said you should do. Helpmate, meaning that this man cannot do it alone. A woman must find a space. And that's why we are saying, okay, if you cannot allow us to take this seat, can you please shift a bit? Let's bring our seat by your side, and then we'll put our seat, that's the additional seat. I don't know why you ask this kind of question. 2023 is still far. And as far as I'm concerned, I've chosen this career and I want to get to the peak of my career. And that simply means that by 2023, God willing, by July, I'll present myself to contest for election, and still available to serve, and still available to contribute to my quota, and still available to mentor young girls, including my daughters.
Well, we're asking the question. You're very lucky we didn't ask you other ones. But anyway, let's take our comments from our social media handle quickly, because, of course, Global Matters is up next, and also open the phone lines. But we'll just take a message and quickly then we'll be going social media platforms and definitely see what's happening. Well, and if you are not on the social media platform, that's gender_agenda1, and that's on your screen right there. You can send us your messages for next week if you can, so that we can get your thoughts here. We might not have enough time to read all the messages. Okay, well, we'll have one. Fatima Hassan from Niger State. The additional special seats for women bill is a thumbs up. The National Assembly should ensure this is passed. National Assembly, you've heard how. So basically, I'm sure that in this retreat, while they are ongoing, they will definitely bring it up to share. And another person from Kano State says the National Assembly has the greatest responsibility to give women the platforms of leadership by the laws that they make. And so that's where we'll drop our cotton today, and our quotes for today definitely will come up later. Well, if you look at the quotes, what we are saying today is you will definitely read it, and it's coming up on your stay, that you do your little bit of good where you are and make sure that other things come up. In the meantime, if you've not heard the International Women's Anthem, it's coming up on your screen right shortly. But don't forget to send us your feedback. And happy birthday to Smith Miller, our former celebrity cinematographer, somebody who does the A Square the mega way. And we say we love you from here. But in the meantime, we'll see you again next week, 3 p.m. live here, Friday. I am yours truly, Adora Onyechere. And all around the world, women are longing to be free. Goodbye and see you again. Mwah.